I'm Shane Stuber with the Trilogy Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us for the April 26th version of our Inspired Sundays messages. This week's message is brought to us from Pastor George Ross, and it's about battles. There's no doubt all of us are battling something right now. Perhaps it's a battle that we've been waging for a long time, or maybe it's a new battle that just popped up this week. But no matter what, George reminds us in his message that God is always with us. His support and love are never far behind, no matter what battle we are waging.
Well, hey everybody, I'm George Ross, one of the ministers at Northside Christian Church in New Albany, and we're just kind of coming to you in a beautiful nature setting today that God gave while the weather's good, and we're really thankful we have a chance to encourage all of you as healthcare workers and even residents who get a chance to see this moment of devotion and encouragement. So we just want to dive in and let you know how much we appreciate all that you're doing and what God is doing through you in protecting one another, taking care of one another, especially during this very challenging time that we find with the coronavirus. I grew up in the 60s, and I imagine a lot of the residents did. Now, some of you workers are a lot younger, so you're going to have to check your history book on this or ask a friend. But a lot of the music back in the 60s was kind of storytelling kinds of things. And I remember one song in particular was called The Battle of New Orleans. And if I remember the words right, it was pretty tricky. I think it says, in 1814, we took a little trip along with Colonel Jackson down the mighty Mississippi. And it just goes to tell a story about a big battle that went on. Now, you might remember the chorus, which simply said, we fired our guns and the British kept coming. There wasn't quite as many as there was a while ago. Fired once more and they began to running down the Mississippi till the Gulf of Mexico. You might remember that little chorus and that song, and it was always a fun thing to kind of rhyme, and I felt like I was being cool learning that song as a little 7 or 8 year old kid. There's always a battle in life. There's songs about battles, there's books about battles, movies, documentaries. You know, America has seen quite a few battles and wars, whether it's World War I, World War II. My father was actually in World War II. A Korean conflict, Vietnam conflict, Desert Storm. We're familiar with battles. When you look in the Bible and see the encouragement that God gives to us, how He's going to be with us and see us through those battles, you can really see how He takes care of His people, how He goes before us and He makes sure that we're going to be all right. And today I want to read this story. It's from Exodus chapter 17. And it talks about this battle that the Amalekites had with the Israelites, God's people. It begins in Exodus 17, verse 8. It says, while the people of Israel were still at Rephidim, the warriors of Amalek attacked them. Moses commanded Joshua, choose some men to go out and fight the army of Amalek for us. Tomorrow I will stand at the top of the hill holding the staff of God in my hand. So Joshua did what Moses had commanded and fought the army of Amalek. Meanwhile, Moses, Aaron, and Hur climbed to the top of a nearby hill. As long as Moses held up the staff in his hand, the Israelites had the advantage. But whenever he dropped his hand, the Amalekites gained the advantage. Moses' arms soon became so tired he could no longer hold them up. So Aaron and Hur found a stone for him to sit on. Then they stood on each side of Moses, holding up his hands. So his hands held steady until sunset. As a result, Joshua overwhelmed the army of Amalek in battle. After the victory, the Lord instructed Moses, write this down on a scroll as a permanent reminder and read it aloud to Joshua. I will erase the memory of Amalek from under heaven. And Moses built an altar there and named it Yahweh Nisi, which means the Lord is my banner. He said, they have raised their fist against the Lord's throne. So now the Lord will be at war with Amalek generation after generation. And quite a battle. You look at the imagery of all of that and you see how God was with his people, and yet he called for them to be dependent upon him. Now, the few things I want to share today that I think are encouraging, understanding that battle and the battle that we are in presently and the battles that we face in life. Number one is every battle always begins with an attack. It usually is a surprise attack. something sneaks up on us. It might be a sickness, might be an enemy, it might be something else that can happen in our life. Sometimes it might be an accident, and accidents are accidents, but still they threaten our life and our health, our wealth, or whatever it might be. And in this case, it was certainly an ambush type of a thing. This country came up and they said to God's people, we're going to attack you. We're going to overwhelm you. We think we've caught you with the element of surprise. There's always a surprise that happens in every battle in life. And you can think through your life of things that just caught you off guard and have caught me off guard. It seems like it can happen more often than we would ever imagine. Now, the second thing in a battle is it calls for a strategy. And if you'll notice what Moses did, he said, here's the strategy. I'm going to get Joshua. He's a military general. I'm going to have him choose from all amongst the people of the nation that he wants as soldiers. So that he had some people trained already. He just knew that he's going to go out to battle and he's got to choose the best people he can. And I want you all to know here in this healthcare providing and nurturing and loving, caregiving relationship and ministry, in my mind, that you all have. You have been carefully chosen and you are right where you need to be in helping the folks right where they are. Just so much, I cannot let you know how much we appreciate all that you do. Whether it would be the administrators or the nurses or the CNAs, all the different areas of therapy, of occupational, physical, speech therapy, all sorts of helping from the dietitians to volunteers to the other healthcare workers or perhaps even social directors. I love those social directors, man. They are like the chaplains of the whole group, and they have a lot of fun, and they really encourage you as much as they can. I love to see the whole team of healthcare workers come together. My dad's been in a couple of different nursing homes, one in Illinois, one here in Indiana. And the one thing over the last 2 years where he's kind of been in those different places that I've noticed is the tremendous teamwork that it takes to care and that type of encouragement, and how much you workers are part of that strategy. So I cannot begin to thank you enough for that. Joshua knew when he chose those soldiers, they're going to represent the integrity of God and they're going to put themselves at risk. And that's always a part of every battle. Now, there's a third thing that happens in every battle. In every battle, there needs to be an appeal. And sometimes we just appeal to the medical community. Sometimes we just appeal to the government or whatever it might be, or whatever resource we might have. But when Moses decided to appeal to heaven, it was not a passive say a little prayer in the morning and hope everything goes good. It wasn't a little bit of a now I lay me down to sleep kind of a prayer. It was an intense appeal to heaven. And the Bible says that he had his arms up to heaven. It was a very definite appeal. Now, it also says he had something else. Got a prop or two with me today. And this is called a rain stick. It's a really neat thing. If I turned it upside down, there's a lot of seeds from gourds in that, and it would just trickle, sound like a rainstorm. So I'm not going to do that, or that'll be pretty distracting. But if you wouldn't mind to allow this to kind of represent the staff that Moses had in his hand. And if you remember the story, as God called Moses, he was a shepherd from age 40 to 80. And all of a sudden he finds himself being called by God to go and deliver God's people from slavery in Egypt. So all that's happened, and they're all beyond that now, but he still has this staff, which kind of represents the presence and the power of God. So he made sure when God's people went to battle, he didn't appeal just to the resources that he had. He appealed to heaven. Now, follow me with me on this, because it says that he went to the top of the hill. Well, I'm not going to climb a hill, but I am going to take a few steps back. And what happened was his brother Aaron and a friend named Hur, H-U-R, those two guys come alongside him, and they take him up to the top of the hill, and they find a stone, a place for him to sit down, because, he's going to be here for a while. Who knows how long this battle's going to take. And he has a staff in his hand, and he lifts it to heaven in an appeal. Oh God, please protect us as we go out to battle. Protect your people. And the Bible, if you heard the story as I read it, it says as long as he lifted his hands to heaven, Israel was winning. And as soon as he thought, let me take a break here and I'll be back in 10 minutes, all of a sudden they started to lose. So, okay, he's keeping his hands up to heaven. I'm a little tired. Okay, we're losing again. So Aaron and Hur come alongside him, and he has two guys hold his arms up because his arms couldn't stay up like this all that time. See, there's something about understanding this appeal that we all have the privilege of doing, and that's being able to pray and being able to say, God, in the midst of everything that's going on all around us, please help us to follow you, love you, trust you. Please be with us. Please deliver us. All those prayers, God hears every prayer. Now, he was so tired, I would call it more of a spiritual fatigue. And when we have that fatigue, when we're just tired and we don't know what's going to happen next, that's when somebody who has that same faith and love needs to lift our arms up. And those people are all around you. And they're wearing masks. And they're taking your temperature. And they're giving you your medication. And they're checking your blood sugar. They're doing all the things they do, helping you to the bathroom, helping you to breakfast and whatever you might need. And I'm so thankful for those people that have come alongside me in my life, and thankful for those that are right around you right now. Jesus said in the New Testament, he said, if 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, if you come alongside me, he says, whether you're encouraging one another, having a meal together, or whether you're praying, whether you're studying, or just bearing one another's burdens, if you come together in my name, I'm right there with you. So you know that he will never leave or forsake you. He's going to be with you every step of the way. Now, there's a final lesson in this, and that is that every battle has a lesson that we're to learn. We're to somehow get it. And most lessons in life I've had to learn over and over and over and over and over, and still many more I have to understand. But the things that God wanted Moses to learn at this point is he has a little after the game, post-game talk and debriefing on all that. He says, you need to understand what has happened here is there's been a country that we have kind of defeated, but they're going to come back. Maybe it's vaccinated but not eradicated. Maybe they're going to come back in some way. They'll probably always be your enemy. They picked a fight with you. They ambushed you. It's going to happen again. And he says, I want you to know, by the way, that they have defied me and dishonored me, disrespected me, that this is always going to happen. So I'm going to take care of them. It might be over a long period of time. Every battle we go through is probably going to be this side of heaven that we'll have to struggle with on one level or not. But God says, I'm going to protect. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to watch out for you. And just as he is protecting us now, I just encourage you to let your appeal continue to be to him and to appreciate those around us who are helping and caring for us, and find God and his blessing in this moment. Now, one of the things I kind of like to do is I grew up on all those old hymns, like maybe some of you all did. The Amazing Grace, How Great Thou Art. I'm sure they're in the top 10 in heaven. All right, but I love all those old songs. And I think one of the songs that probably means a lot to us in a time of a dilemma and a challenge like this and a threat is to understand where our trust needs to be. And I don't know if you remember this song, but if you do, rather than me kind of sing for you, why don't you just gently sing along with me if you know this one, all right? 'Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus, just to take him at his word, just to rest on his promise, just to know thus saith the Lord. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust him, and how I've proved him o'er and o'er. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust him more. Oh, I'm so glad I learned to trust him. Precious Jesus, Savior, friend. And I know that he is with me. He will be with me to the end. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust him, how I've proved him o'er and o'er. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust him more. Well, I sure appreciate the opportunity to be able to come and visit with you a little bit and encourage you. What a beautiful moment it is right here for me now, and I just pray it's been a beautiful moment of encouragement for you and those folks around you. God bless you. We love you and so thankful for you. See you soon.
I'm thankful for the reminder today from George that God is always on our side, no matter what battles we're going through. And even though it's not the same as having God on our side, I want to remind you today that the Trilogy Foundation is in your corner as well. Last week I was able to announce our new partnership with Marketplace Chaplains. So this is a free chaplain service that can be accessed by any employee, any resident, or family member. If you just need somebody to talk to, please be sure to give them a call or download their MyChap app, and you can find all the directions for that in this Ready At message. Also, I want to put a bit of a teaser out there because due to the overwhelming support that employees have given the Trilogy Foundation in the last 2 months with our One campaign, we've been able to raise enough money now to secure some free financial education for every single employee. And not just any financial education. This is Dave Ramsey, internationally known finance education professor. Dave Ramsey has a tool called Smart Dollar. And inside that, he teaches us his 7 baby steps for financial freedom. And this will be free for every single employee. So stay tuned and watch out this coming week because you're going to learn all about it. We hope that you are leaving today inspired for the week ahead, knowing that God is going to be with us every step of the way in every battle. So thank you for tuning in to our Inspired Sundays. Please be safe and healthy, and God bless.